work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. It is a big idea, a new world order. Such is a world worthy of our children's future. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. And that's why I wanted to speak to you today about the new world taking shape around us, about the prospects for a new world order now within our reach. I'll be talking in some detail about the possibility of a new world order, the quest for the new world order. New world order. The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
Take a quick break. But when we come back, I hope you will indulge me in something, because I want to ask you about your access to the files on the UFOs. Okay? President Clinton is here with us. We'll be right back. President Bill Clinton is here with us. So if I was president, and I won't be, let's be honest, the first thing I would do after putting my hand on that Bible and taking that oath to serve the country is, I wouldn't even probably finish the oath. I would run to the White House. I demand to see all the classified files on the UFOs. Because I want to know. I want to know what has been going on. Did you do that?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, we had, I think it was at the beginning of my second term, we had the anniversary of Roswell.
You waited that long?
I did.
Wow.
Well, I didn't. And then there's also Area 51. You remember there was a great sci-fi movie where there was an alien kept deep under the ground in Area 51? First, I had people go look at the records on Area 51 to make sure there was no alien down there. And people thought that because everybody who works there has to stop about an hour away and put on special clothing and then drive in and out. And that's because a lot of our stealth technology is made there. We know that now, but there are no aliens there. So then when the Roswell thing came up, I knew we'd get, gazillions of letters. So I had all the Roswell papers reviewed, everything. So I think, what do we know? We know now we live in an ever-expanding universe. We know that there are billions of stars and planets literally out there, and the universe is getting bigger. We know from our fancy telescopes that just in the last 2 years, more than 20 planets have been identified outside our solar system that seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
Oh, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
Oh, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh.
But if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that it's not like Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
That it's a conflict.
Well, now we have
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours. They're out there. We better think of how all the differences among people on Earth would seem small if we felt threatened by a space invader. That's the whole theory of independence.
You're right.
Everybody gets together and makes nice, and
This is something I feel like if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen. You never know. If I was the president,
It was unlikely that I was the president.
the moment I was inaugurated, my hand it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened. Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
you will do.
The
Aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. And they exercise strict control over us.
Now, you know, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, you know, that's what we're instructed to say.
All right. When we had your husband, President Clinton, on the show, he said, I asked him about UFOs in Area 51, and if you looked in, because if I was president, that's the first thing I do. I go right into those files and see what was going on.
Right.
And he said that he did do that.
Yes.
And that he didn't find anything.
Well, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, why not?
Right? And you know, there's a new name. It's unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Unexplained aerial phenomena.
Yep,
Really?
yep, UAP. That's the latest nomenclature.
I like the old one. I like UFO. I don't know why.
Well, I think we can use them interchangeably, but I would like us to go into those files and hopefully make as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there.
What if there is something there?
Well, if there is something there, unless it's a threat to national security, I think we ought to share it with the public.
Well, what if everybody's all hopped up on medical marijuana and everybody gets paranoid? I would love
That's why I want more research.
If you share it with me, I'll decide what is the best course of action. I really have my ear to the ground.
Well, I'm more than happy to do that.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
A crisis of leadership. We've been talking about this all week. But what if there was some sort of outer space crisis? An alien invasion sounds crazy, perhaps, but then who thought we'd ever see the stock market swing 5% a day all week long? So maybe it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. If aliens invaded, who would step up to lead us in that fight, and could we even win? That's just one of the questions the Discovery Channel's new series, Curiosity, looks at. Joining me now is physics professor Michio Kaku, who is a consultant for the series. Professor, welcome. The biggest question before we get any invasion is, do aliens even exist, and how do we know?
Well, the Kepler satellite currently orbiting in outer space has identified about 50 planets that seem very much Earth-like. In fact, every week we discover another Jupiter-sized planet in outer space. Now, to be sure, most of them probably have no more than microbial life, just germs. But a few of them may have intelligent life, perhaps even more advanced than what we have on Earth.
Now, so how does this actually work? When Discovery decided they were going to do a show on alien invasions, your phone rings because you're on the sort of speed dial for theoretical physicists who can help them do the war game for how this might play out?
Well, believe it or not, we physicists have actually studied the question of what happens if we do encounter a hostile advanced civilization in space. Open your mind to the possibility that one day we will make contact with an intelligent civilization in outer space that could be thousands, millions of years ahead of us in technology. The Kepler satellite has identified 2,000 planets orbiting other star systems. So tonight, when you look at the night sky, realize that somebody could be looking back at you. Now, if there is a life form out there, they could be literally millions of years ahead of us. The universe is 13.7 billion years old, so a million years is nothing compared to the age. I mean, we have nothing to offer.
Are we going to get answers in our lifetime about this?
Well, next we're going to focus on radio telescopes to see whether we can eavesdrop on their I Love Lucy. Maybe they too have, Leave It to Beaver and TV shows like that. So we're going to focus our radio efforts now on this star to see whether there's any regular radio emissions from that planet.
Oh, it's so exciting. Michio, thank you so much for joining us.
The big question of, do you think there's intelligent life elsewhere out there? Do you think there is? And if there is, do you think it's visited us before?
Well, the big question is there intelligent life on the Earth? And I think not, by looking at the presidential debates. However, we have to look at the fact that just this week, NASA released the fact that 1,200 planets were discovered by the Kepler satellite just this past week. And so we now know that perhaps there are 1 billion Earth-like planets in our backyard, the Milky Way galaxy. Go out tonight and have an existential shock, looking at the night sky, realizing that there are probably 1 billion planets that are Earth-like.
I think I only had to memorize 8 of them in school. I think I got off easy.
Right. And to think that we're the only game in town, I think is kind of presumptuous.
But that question, the idea that there is intelligent life and it's been here, do you think we've been visited by extraterrestrial intelligent life?
First of all, I think they're out there, okay?
To kind of catapult the propaganda.
So why the lie? पहिला सुरु यो किन चाहिँ झुटो एउटा ग्लोबल स्केल या वर्ल्डको स्केलमा या 7 कन्टिनेन्ट्स या होल ओभर द वर्ल्ड किन चाहिँ झुटो हुँदैछ? What is the shape or what's the reality? Yeah, what do people like me see the world around us? भनेर चाहिँ मैले भिडियो बनाएको र पहिला सुरु चाहिँ मैले किन चाहिँ उनीहरूले एउटा लाई चाहिँ प्रोपोगेट गरिरहेछ, प्रोपोगेन्डा गरिरहेछ अल वर्ल्ड वाइड, र त्यहाँ डिफ्रेन्ट पिपल अराउन्ड द वर्ल्ड जस्ट लाइक मी कम्बाइन गरेर एउटा टिकटक भिडियोको सानो पार्ट्सहरू मैले कम्बाइन गरेको छु। र यसमा मेरो भनाइ के छ भने जबसम्म यो संसार छ र जे हिस्ट्री बुकहरू पढ्नुहुन्छ, गुलामी जहिले पनि थियो। गुलामी शारीरिक होस्, मानसिक होस्, या इमोसनल होस्, भावनात्मक होस्, या कुनै परम्परागत रूपमा होस्, गुलामी सधैँ थियो। त्यो गुलामीलाई कन्टिन्युटी दिनको लागि र एउटा जीवनको सत्य र समाजको झुट लुकाउनको लागि र एउटा जुन सिभिलाइजेसन छ, जुन सिस्टम छ, जुन डेमोक्रेसी छ, जुन हायरर्कियल पावर छ, जुन पिरियडिकल स्केल छ, त्यसलाई कन्टिन्युटी दिनको लागि चाहिँ यो कुरा गरिएको। र everyone is involved, from politicians to bankers to pharmaceutical industry to everyone that we see on TV. So please don't believe no one. र अरू हेर्दै गर्नु, continue, it's coming. Don't forget to like, comment and share.
When people say, why the lie? One of the main answers is they're hiding more land.
What if we can truly become free? The whole reason for this is because of more land. Because think about it. If there's more real estate, if there's more resources, natural resources, if there's more food for our starving children, if there's more space, more room for us to get away from the trafficking, if there's places where we can go and other civilizations we can be a part of, where they don't charge you for water, they don't charge you for free energy, they don't charge you for property taxes. What if there is more land?
Nobody can go explore Antarctica, period. Because if humanity found out there's more land, then the heliocentric theory is gone. They can't start adding more continents on the bottom of a ball. It's just, they wanted it silenced right away.
There is evidence out there through old maps, namely the 1,000-year-old Japanese Kawabashi map, which shows continents and lands outwardly of what they call the ice shelf or the ice wall.
So why are they teaching the globe model? Well, you see, the globe is a container, and it's a container of all the known land. The Jesuits and the Freemasons, they needed a new model because they wanted a new world order.
Because right now on a ball or in a snow globe, there's only 7 continents. That's all there is. So everything is very limited. We have a limited supply.
Resources are very scarce because the Earth is a globe, right? It's cut off. Everything's cut off. If you open it up and there is more land, then there's plenty of resources. More land means more resources. Well, that's huge if they're hiding something like that. There's a scene in The Truman Show where Truman is like, I want to be an explorer when I get older.
I like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Imagine if there's like all these beautiful places to explore still, and finding out that there's all this land, it just opens up the door for discovery again.
Have you ever heard of the eyewitness testimony written in the books, The Iron Republic, The Smoky?
Earth is a level, motionless plane with the sun, moon, and stars revolving over and around us just as you experience every day. The North Pole is the magnetic monopole center point, with Polaris, the North Pole star, situated directly above. Polaris is the only motionless star in the heavens, with all the other constellations revolving perfect circles over the Earth every night. The so-called planets, known to the ancients as wandering stars, were named such because they were observed then, as we can observe today, to wander the heavens, taking their own unique spirograph-like patterns, making both forward and retrograde motions over and around the Earth during their cycles. Meanwhile, the fixed stars were named such because they were observed then, as we can observe today, to stay fixed in their constellation patterns night after night, year after year, century after century, never changing their relative positions. If Earth was truly a tilting, wobbling, spinning space ball, as NASA and modern astronomy proclaim, rotating 1,000 miles per hour on its axis, revolving 67,000 miles per hour around the Sun, spiraling 500,000 miles per hour around the galaxy, and shooting off several million more miles per hour through the universe, the star patterns would never look the same 2 nights in a row, let alone be fixed in exactly the same constellations for thousands upon thousands of years. The reality is that the Earth and Polaris do not move, while everything else in the heavens revolves over Earth and around Polaris, east to west, like in a planetarium dome. Our Earth planetarium, however, is so vast that perspective won't allow any observer to see all the stars simultaneously from any one vantage point. We can see Polaris, Ursa Major and Minor, and other northern constellations from every point north of the equator simultaneously, but conversely cannot see the so-called South Pole star, Sigma Octantis, the Southern Cross, or other outer constellations simultaneously from every point south of the equator, because they all sweep over a great southern arc from their rise in the evening to their setting in the morning. Facing north, the stars turn counterclockwise from right to left. Facing south, they turn clockwise from left to right.
The sun never, ever, ever is under the globe. It is always above the flat, horizontal, stationary Earth, rotating. And this is the point. The point is that we have science on our side. Only experiments have proven that the Earth is stationary. Scientific experiments. These scientists, Pierluigi Marconi, these are not nobodies. These are men who have proven conclusively, and yet we have Einstein with his one quote: "I have come to believe that no experiment, scientific experiment, can prove the movement or has detected the movement of the Earth."
You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball 93 million miles away.
You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball.
While we keep experimenting to try and figure out what the sun actually is, and how close it could be. With a local hotspot, it should be easy to comprehend that the sun is small and close to you.
When I have my magnifying glass close to this paper, first of all, this is what the moon is. You could even see, like, when I tell people the moon is flat, they're like, what? But look, there's dimension on it. Yeah, look, this looks like a potato chip, but it's not. It's actually a flat piece of paper. Look at this hologram I'm making right here. Look at that. This is a flat potato chip hologram on this piece of paper. There's even little craters in it. Now check this out. When I bring it away, it turns blue. That's your blue moon. Then it bring it close and it's red. So watch this. It turns blue. So of course it's hotter when it's blue than when it's closer and it's red. So when it's close, it's not hot. When it's further, boom, it's hotter. See that? Because the dome is a magnifying glass. If I have my magnifying glass close, it's not hot. Look at the dome is shorter here. That's like me putting my magnifying glass low. Now if the dome gets higher, boom, it's blue light. So the moon has a blue moon and a red moon and a blue moon. I can get those shades of blue. So there you go, guys. Close, it's infrared, ultraviolet. Boom, and there's your moon. I showed you the hologram flat disk moon. It still has this roundness to it. And the Egyptians even said the sun looked like this. It has dimension to it, but it's still a disk. It's the disk that has this dimension to it. Moon and sun the same.
We see the sky through the moon. Sometimes it is even possible to see stars directly through the moon. Many have repeatedly demonstrated that moonlight is colder than the shade at night, and therefore it cannot be reflected sunlight as it possesses no residual warmth. We also know that spherical objects do not reflect light. By the laws of reflection, the light concentrates into a highlight point and does not reflect. You can also see frequent crescent moons when both the moon and the sun are within close proximity of each other, meaning that it is impossible for the sun to be cast in the Earth's shadow onto the moon.
September 27, 2015, I took pictures of the eclipse of the moon. I set up my 5-inch telescope using a 17mm eyepiece and took these snapshots. You will notice in the pictures, stars show through the dark portions of the moon. And as I go through them, I'll blow them up a little larger so you can see these stars. I'll point to one. There's a blue star here, a white star. There's another star right here. It shows up quite good. And that's that picture. Move on to the next one. You can actually see the stars here. And we'll zoom in and we'll see a red star with a white star right in here. And then there's 3 stars, a white star, a blue star, and another blue star. And there's a white star pretty much over here. Okay, now this one here you can see the stars. 1, 2. It's pretty bright. Now zoom in on it. Now there's a red star, white star, showing through the moon, white star, and then a blue star again, with another star over here. And as we go further down, we see another blue star and a white star. There's more stars that I'm picking up on this film. They do have 2 stars out here on the edge, but this is basically closer to the left side of the moon. Moving on, you can see 2 stars here. There's another star here, 2 stars down the bottom, and another star here. So we'll zoom that up for you. So one on the bottom, some stars shining through. There's another 2 stars, faint one in the background, and we have this star, blue star, and this white star.
Professor R. Foster challenged the corrupt scientific complex by stating that landing on the moon was an impossibility. It is an impossibility, according to Foster, because the moon is plasma and not solid. Here is what he said in an interview.
What is your theory? Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation. Scientific views expressed all over the world now that the moon seems to be of a quite different nature from what was assumed.
But the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Well, that will never happen. Not on the moon. On Mars, on Venus, on other planets, yes, but the moon is definitely, as I assert, a plasma.
Like most that speak out, Foster was most likely controlled opposition. Notice that he says it is possible to land on other planets, but not the moon. It is likely that it was his task to introduce a half-truth, that the moon is a plasma phenomenon, only for his claims to be, quote, debunked and proved wrong, unquote, a few years later, after they staged the moon landings. Since Foster's claim, however, our own access to technology in recent years has allowed us to investigate the moon in more detail. And through this we see over and over again varying instances of the moon behaving in a way that debunks a lie that it is a ball of rock. We see with our own eyes a semi-transparent moon, either at night or while there is still daylight. We see the sky through the moon. Sometimes it is even possible to see stars directly through the moon. Many have repeatedly demonstrated that moonlight is colder than the shade at night, and therefore it cannot be reflected sunlight as it possesses no residual warmth. We also know that spherical objects do not reflect light. By the laws of reflection, the light concentrates into a highlight point and does not reflect. You can also see frequent crescent moons when both the moon and the sun are within close proximity of each other, meaning that it is impossible for the sun to be cast in the Earth's shadow.
Well, let's take a look through a telescope.
perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
But why did they have to fake it? Why?
Because it is impossible to get to the moon.
The government says we'll kill you if you say anything. I mean, that's a standard top secret sort of penalty.
It's understood, even if it's not said.
Right, but they did say it to you, I presume.
WikiLeaks released fake moon landing footage.
Not the best. Let's say it's another one to Fred. I think that's awfully good. That one and the one before it was pretty good.
We have about 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of time here.
I claim this land in the name of...
What do you got now? Now move. Ready? And action. Got it, Jim? Very good.
Good that.
Good for. He needs to go off this mark.
Once more, please.
Otherwise, he, train.
Let me walk it.
back in the middle of it.
Here's what we really need is for him to go to his left and then kind of veer back. Is that right?
No lights on the car. No lights. No lights. On more right away.
Headlight. Exactly right, and it has to be. We have to be high enough so that we've got you against blue sky and not against Earth as you're coming in. You're coming in a descending approach as you get in.
Over. We can rehearse it. Said, go back and we'll rehearse it and see how it looks.
Okay. Ready? And action. Headlight.
Flight from Atlanta to Toronto, and I specifically picked the window seat because I knew I'd get a chance to see a sunrise. As you can see, I'm looking very touristy with my P900, but what I recorded was 100% proof that the sun is not 93 million miles away, so check it out. So here's the video I took. As you can see, the sun is about to start rising, and it's not even past the horizon. You can see the horizon in the background, and the sun is going to start rising through that thick layer of clouds right there. Now, if the sun was 93 million miles away, it would be rising at the horizon, not in the middle of the clouds right there. So I was at about 34,000 feet when I was recording this with my P900, and I don't see how that is possible if the sun is 93 million miles away.
This is the original video right here with only 634 views. Let's see what happens when I click on it. His account has been terminated. The owners of YouTube, they don't want you to have this information. That's why when you type in flat earth, this kind of bullshit right here shows up. This is what they want you to see. They want you to see this guy, Professor Dave here, insulting and disrespecting flat earthers. They want you to see a flat earth floating in space looking stupid. You don't see anything like this on my profile. Why are they showing you this on YouTube? Why is this what they're showing you? Now, I want you to look at this last clip here where there's this waterfall that's just going off the edge of Earth into nothing. Somebody is trying to steer your perception. They want you to have this perception in your mind every time flat earth is brought up. And no flat earther is preaching this, okay? They want you to think about this every time flat earth is brought up so you can say flat earth is ridiculous. When in reality, to think that you're on a rock that's zipping through space at 400,000 miles an hour for 13 billion years is ridiculous.
They were panicking. Panicking because the platform they purchased 10 years ago was collapsing with truth. The powers that be would not allow that.
I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for "the Earth is flat" on YouTube.